Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to work on a really fun pair of earrings using our Jesse James beads mix into the woods. So this has got some really interesting beads in it, but you'll see what I've chosen when we turn it out. Okay, I have here two ball head pins and two regular head pins, which I'm going to cut the ends off of, just like that. These I'm going to use as just plain pieces of wire. I've also got from my stash a couple of jump rings and these cool little leaf posts. I thought those would be really cute to go with this, since this is into the woods. Of course, here's our backs for those. Now from the kit, these are actually a separate item that I got from Jesse James Beads. We've got these really cute squirrels, and we have these really cute owls, and a couple of cube beads. Now the owls have, you can see a little spot on them. Let's see if I can get it closer to you so you can really see it. See this spot right here on our owl? I'm going to glue flatback crystals onto those. Whoop, don't drop him or you won't be. And I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do one on either side. And in fact, I probably will. So we'll do one side before we get going with anything else. Where's my tweezers? There they are. And I think we'll go with this size right here. This should fit really nicely on his belly spot there. So we need 4 of those, since we're going to do 2 on either side. So we can close this up. We don't want to lose any of our crystals. Those are hard to come by anymore, considering these are Swarovskis. Oh, come on. Why are you not closing up? There we go. So I'm going to take a touch of E6000 and put 2 of these on, and then we'll set them aside and start working on other stuff. Let's see, where's my E6000 at? There it is. Normally I'd put a silicone mat down, but I'm just going to use 2 little drops, so hopefully I won't need it. And this is glued closed, so we'll have to loosen it up some. Come on, you. Come on, baby. This gets all this gook in here when we're gluing stuff, and it then seals our thing closed pretty good. So all I need is just a drop for each one. And it looks like maybe I should have put my mat down because there is some glue out. But c'est la vie. So, like right there, we'll take 2 of our crystals here, put them on our little belly here. And then we'll set our owls and our Ook, no, don't do that. Our owls. And our other two crystals aside so these can dry. And that's what these eye pins were for, to put our owl up from here onto our little piece here. So one of the other things we can do, since we're going to have to wait for the owls to dry, is we can open the jump rings, and then we're going to hook the squirrel to the bottom of our ring here. Now these squirrels are two-sided, so you don't have to worry about getting them on in any particular way, because so are the rings. So well, actually nothing's going to be in a way that it would make a difference other than when we put it on the ear wires or the posts, because I want my squirrels to face in opposite directions when this is done. Come on you go. Okay, so there's part one with our little squirrels going on. The next thing we're going to do, since we can't do the owl yet, is it's a nice big hole here, so we can take and do a wrapped loop, put our little cube on, and then we do a wrapped loop on the top. So let's get this bent over. It can go all the way down quite a bit, like almost halfway, because we only have the one bead. And then we'll get our bell making pliers out. I think the small one is still good for these. It doesn't look like it's going to be a big problem. So leave a gap when you open them, and I did not, so there we go. There's my gap back in place. Now we're going to put this onto here in our loop spot here. And yeah, that's fine with this small one. So now we want to hold here where they come together. And I'm going to push this wire up some so that when the first wrap does not try to come way down here as opposed to down here at the middle. So then we will wrap this baby up. And I want like 3 or 4 wraps. That's all we really need. So that should be good. Cut off the rest and tuck it in. Come on, baby, tuck. There we go. Now now you can see it's leaning backwards some. We don't want that, so we're going to take and push it just a hair's breadth. There we go. And then we put our cube on. And we're going to wrap it up again. Now, since our post is just like an ear wire with it like this, we're going to want our wrap to go this direction. So we're going to go like this. Up and over. Bring her down and around, leave a gap for our post to go in. I think we need it. There we go. So there we go. Now we will feed our post in backwards. And there is our little leaf up at the top here. So now we're going to hold it again where they come together. I'm going to turn it over because I am right hand dominant, so I like to wrap with this hand. And then we'll just wrap her up. And this dropped down a little bit, so I'm going to push it up with my plier. You could do it with your thumbnail too if you prefer that. I will cut the excess off right here. And tuck it in. Okay, so there is earring number 1, but without the owl. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing to the other one, but we're wanting our squirrel to face the other direction when we come up. I'm going to put the nut on the back of this white post here. So now I could go on and do this next piece. However, I think we'll see if these are, how dry these are. If they're dry enough that I can turn it over to the other side, that would be good. That way we can do them right now, but I don't think they're quite dry enough. So while that dries a little bit longer, let's go with the other one. So again, we want our wire bent like about halfway down. Get our bell making pliers out and over, around, down. Bring her over, and I see that I've got these a little twisted to each other. We want to leave a gap here and twist this up like so. So now we'll put our squirrel on. Well, our earpiece, squirrel, whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to hold this. And we're going to wrap. Oop, come here, you. Cut this little bit of excess off here. Tuck this in good. And I see we need to straighten just a hair, so I just did that. That's good. Now our cube goes on. And we want our wrap to go this direction. So we flip it. Get our bell making pliers again. Go onto here. Up and over and around. Bring her down. Leave a gap. Straighten her up some. Go. Now we want to feed our ear wire on. We want it to face this direction, so we want our ear wire to go on backwards from here. Are you going to cooperate, little one? There we go. And yep, I've got it facing so my squirrel will be facing this direction so that they're going opposite ways. Now you don't need to make them go opposite ways. I just like it. I think it is cute when they're going opposite directions, because when you then put them on, one faces, if you put them on, they either both face towards your head or they both face away from your head. So let's get this wrapped. Okay, I think that just wrapped over top of its lower level, and it did. So we got to be careful of that. Don't want it to do that. There we go. The post out of the way. Come, post, get out of the way. You're getting snagged up there. Cut off our little bit of extra here. That's a little bit crooked, so we'll straighten her up some. It's not my prettiest wrap I've ever done, but it's not bad. And we're still crooked. Much better. So we'll put our nut on the back. There's these two. Now, because I'm sure we've been another 5 minutes, hopefully the glue's dry enough that we can flip it over and put enough the glue on the opposite side of our little owls. Well, it's not really dry, but I think it's dry enough that we can at least glue the other side. So let's get our little dab of glue on to our other side of our little owls. Now we could just put the crystal on the one side rather than both if we wanted to, because you know, we could put them so that it's just the front piece. But since your earrings sometimes flip around, I prefer things like this on both sides if they are two-sided, which these little guys are. Now we'll have to wait for about 15 minutes before we can go on with our little earrings. So I will be back in about 15 minutes. Okay, now I think the owls are probably dry enough we can do this. Not dry enough that I want them to, that I'm not going to leave them to dry some more, but dry enough that we can hook them to the earrings. So we're going to put them on these eye pins. And then, since we're wanting to go the loop this way, well, it doesn't really matter. The owls can twist, so if you don't get the little loop the right way, you can just twist the owl and get the right way. So we're just gonna bend over these wires here. Then we'll get our bell making pliers. We'll get the smallest one. Go in, over, around, down. Bring her all the way around, leave a loop, or a gap I should say, And now we're going to feed it through this wire. Now, this is the trickiest part because you're going to have to be wrapping it while it's inside this loop here. Come on, baby. Oops, I just moved the crystal. Darn it. Well, we'll get it back in place, and then it's just going to have to finish drying there. And we need to get this baby on here, on the loop. It doesn't appear to want to go on the loop, but I don't want to grab hold of the owl again because I don't want to move the crystal again. Baby, go in there. Oh, I see. You're over the top of the one from the top. We don't want to do that. Slide in. Now I'm pulling on the wire instead of the little piece, and it's actually mangling the wire up some. So I'm thinking instead of doing it that way, there's plenty of room, I'm pretty sure anyway, I'm going to cut this off and get a new wire because this one's pretty mangled. What I'm going to do, instead of this, is I'm going to simply make, maybe I'll make a big simple loop instead of the, or if I think it will make it, let's see, I can just use a little jump ring maybe, though that's pushing it. Well, let's see. We'll do this and see what we can do here. So up and around and over and down. Bring her over. Straighten her up. I think this one may be a little drier than the other one was. Now we'll do a wrapped loop here. Trim it off. There we go, got her tucked in there. Now we'll, I'm a little concerned with whether that make it bang down here at the bottom, putting a jump ring in there. But if it bangs, it bangs, because it doesn't want to cooperate any other way. So we'll take a couple of small jump rings. A couple, not a whole family. And we'll see how this hangs when we put it in with the jump ring. It's going to be a problem, we may have to cut it off again, and then we will boy, this just wants to be a problem, period, looks like. She is going to hit a little bit down there at the bottom, but I think that's going to be fine because it'll look more like it's sitting on a branch. So we'll get another one of these wires so that I can rewrap the other one here, and we'll put her on our put her in our earring. So not the right ones. Okay, we've got a new wire. Now we need to put this in, and then we'll just wrap this up and put it on like we did the other one. Okay, so we'll just wrap this up like we would normally. Over and around. And since we're jump ringing this now, we don't have to worry about whether it's got a split so that we can put it into the piece. I would have rather this would have gone on to there more easily, but it was not having any of it, so that's the way it goes some days. So off with that, and tuck her in. See how straight we've got her up here? Not bad. Now we'll get our jump ring out. Open her up. I think I'm going to put it on the big one piece first if I can. I think it might be a little bit simpler, but you never can tell. I usually like to put on the smaller piece first because it tends to go in easier. But this is being a bit of a bugger. It doesn't really like this spot. There we go. Now I'm going to push that up with my finger while I slide the owl onto the jump ring. Get hold of it again. Drop it down to the mat so it's not trying to roll around in a circle. And we'll get hold of our jump ring here and push her closed. That isn't quite closed there. Oop, come on, you. So okie dokie, now she's closed. And now our little owl is hanging above our squirrel. And didn't that turn out pretty? Now, like I say, I would have rather had the owl up a little higher, which I could have done if I'd used a simple loop instead of a wrapped loop. It would have taken a little bit of the space out, but I think they're pretty darn cute just the same. So, there are our cute earrings using our Jesse James beads in the woods with our squirrels at the bottom and the little owls in the loop. And then I, of course, like I say, used my leaf posts for these little guys. So we're all in the woods. Aren't those cute? Swinging around here. So this is our bead pack. Jesse James beads in the wood, into the woods. Yeah, into the woods that we got these little guys out. And I was really surprised when I started digging through this. I found the squirrel and I was like, oh boy, I wish there was 2 squirrels. And I dug a little more and there was 2 squirrels. So that made it really cool. So anyway, like I say, we put the little crystal on the owl's belly here. And I did it on both sides, so if it flips, everything is 2-sided, so no problem. So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and I really enjoyed these cute little earrings. I hope you enjoy them too. Like I say, you can wear them with the squirrel on this side or have the squirrel facing away from you. But there they are. Again, this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.